if you've had this, it actually tattoo in the very bottom where it says trust. Okay, because it literally is that. I don't know why things happen. In my humanness, I made a mistake. Oh my God, I was wrong. I did something bad. I cut you short. I owe you. All these crazy human fears. But on the other side, they're like, trust. We have this in hand. We have brought our people here. We've got to stop because my baby girl is not here. Okay, so let me just pause there, and I want to just take a moment. And if you don't mind, if the person who was affected by this wouldn't mind sharing a little bit. And I also want to invite others, because some of you have also reached out to me and said, oh my God, this thing and that thing that happened and this thing that you said. So I want to open this up for us. Okay, so who was that for? And if you're here, if you don't mind sharing.
Right
Okay,
here.
all righty. So
I love your videos. I love your YouTubes. And when I saw you were doing these, I signed right up. I'm like, I was so excited. And then as time went on, I'm like, I know it's coming up sooner or later, sooner or later. And then I got the email that you said, oops, I ended after an hour instead of 90 minutes. And I'm like, how did I forget that? I had it on my calendar and I completely spaced it off. And then you sent the recording. And I thought, well, at least I can listen to the recording. That'll be nice. So I started listening to the recording, and you were talking about things, and people were like, yeah, that's me, that's me. And then all of a sudden you're like, and who's taking a cruise? And everyone's kind of looking at each other. I'm like, oh, that is for me.
hi, everybody. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Oh, I'm
Hi.
so happy to see you guys.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome, welcome. Oh,
Hello.
this is so cool. Hello. I'm so happy to see all of you. Okay. Well, it's exactly 6:30, so we're just going to wait a couple of minutes and let some people connect and join. Hello. I'm so happy to see you all. Okay. So I did not realize, like, I don't even know how to jump into this. So I'm just going to start from the beginning. Okay. So, first of all, I thank all of you for being here again. I trust implicitly what happens and what comes through. And what happened with you all on the very first session is no coincidence. What happened actually blows my mind. It is beyond comprehension, even my own. When I do these kinds of sessions, I am really fully in a place of allowing. Right before I connect and we do this, I ground, I pray, I do this opening and this connection, but also creating a safe space for us, trusting that whatever comes through. But I was nervous. Okay. I didn't even count how many people came through. I felt a little frazzled, but I trust. Oh my gosh, do I trust? So I was hearing towards the end, okay, of the session, and I don't know why I had in my head, you know, an hour, 7:30. I cut it short by a half hour, but I was hearing in my head, wait, my baby girl's not there. And I'm thinking, well, wait a second, that doesn't make sense of why am I going to end the session if we're waiting for somebody to arrive? And there was one of the sisters, and this may be her. So give me a moment. Oh no. Hi, Karen. Hello, welcome. Welcome, welcome. But we were right in the middle of sharing the story. So I'm just going to continue. Please bear with me. So um, I was hearing towards the end of the session about my baby girl's not there. And then I literally like clicked on the button And then I heard one of the participants say, wait, I thought this was 90 minutes. And I don't know who else was on the line. And I had a face of panic. And I was like, mortified because I ended it early. And I'm like, what did I just do? And I spent the rest of the evening trying to get back to you guys. And it was just a thing beyond my control. And that's what these things are, beyond my control. I just show up, I separate myself, and it feels like I'm watching. I am in a place of allowing that whatever, and if you had a session with me, I'll actually begin and say that I trust that whatever information, messages, or guidance that needs to come through, that it can and it will. I trust, even if it doesn't make sense in the moment. So I'm going to pause here and recognize that there was divine purpose. And I discovered it afterwards. So I sent the link to everyone. And then I was actually reached out by a participant who was not even here. So if you all remember that there was a lot of information that was coming through about a cruise, about this other gentleman, about a young man, there was a lot of stuff that was coming through. And I knew that even though it made sense and it was actually for someone, and we, it fit because spirit brings all of all together. Your soul has brought you here because there's something in common. There's something that is a commonality that you think that you made the decision to get here, but on the other side, they orchestrated this beyond our control, beyond mine. So what actually happened was that I was reached out by the person who said, oh my God, I forgot. How did I forget? And actually gave me some information and said all of that. So I'm just going to recount my experience. And in that moment, I took a deep breath and I was like, okay, I tattooed it to me. If you've had this, it actually tattooed in the very bottom where it says trust. Okay, because it literally is that. I don't know why things happen. In my humanness, I made a mistake. Oh my God, I was wrong. I did something bad. I cut you short. I owe you. All these crazy human fears. When on the other side, they're like, trust. We have this in hand. We have brought our people here. We've got to stop because my baby girl is not here. Okay, so let me just pause there and I want to just take a moment. And if you don't mind, if the person who was affected by this wouldn't mind sharing a little bit. And I also want to invite others because some of you have also reached out to me and said, oh my God, this thing and that thing that happened and this thing that you said. So I want to open this up for us. Okay. So who was that for? And if you're here, if you don't mind sharing.
Right
Okay.
here.
All righty. So
I love your videos. I love your YouTubes. And when I saw you were doing these, I signed right up. I'm like, I was so excited. And then as time went on, I'm like, I know it's coming up sooner or later, sooner or later. And then I got the email that you said, oops, I ended after an hour instead of 90 minutes. I'm like, how did I forget that? I had it on my calendar and I completely spaced it off. And then you sent the recording. And I thought, well, at least I can listen to the recording. That'll be nice. So I started listening to the recording and, you were talking about things and people were like, yeah, that's me. That's me. And then all of a sudden you're like, and who's taking a cruise? And everyone's kind of looking at each other. I'm like, that is for me. We're heading out. Well, 2 weeks now. It was 6 weeks, I think, when you first did this. But yeah. And then my son is also going off to college pretty soon, and he's going to be traveling. It's just like an hour away from our house, but he's going to be traveling back and forth and back and forth. And I remember you said something about that with a boy traveling back and forth, and how whoever that was giving the message was like, we're going to have to gather our prayer groups or something, which is so my mom when she was here on earth. That it's always anytime anyone traveled, get the prayer groups going type of thing. And then you said, at the end, you emailed me and said that the person said that was giving you a message or whatever, that we've got to wait, my baby girl's not here. So I thought, maybe that's my mom that came through.
oh yeah. It was a female, and she's like, wait, my baby girl is not here. You got to stop. They're like, we orchestrated this all on the other side, and my baby girl's not here. She's got to be here. So, okay, thank you, everybody. Whoa. So please continue. Yeah, if there's anything else, Mavis, that you care to share.
Oh, you also said something about Virginia. My son's looking at colleges in Virginia, a college in Virginia. And then you also said something about Boulder, and that's another place he's looking at, a college where he would be driving back and forth type of thing. So,
Wow.
yeah, it just, as the more I listen to that recording, I'm like, oh, why did I forget this? Why did I forget it?
That's why I don't know. See,
Yeah.
there I was so worried about, like, this is the very first one. You guys are my maiden group, okay? And that is, even the choice of that word is very specific. Okay, there is something that's being ushered on this planet. And as I chose to embrace, and I said, thank you so much for your gentleness, for your kindness, for your openness, for holding me in a safe place as I embark on this. I don't know, I'm so emotional, but whew, bear with me.
Can I tell you one more thing?
Please do.
I didn't email you this, and my number's 1111, which I'm sure is a lot of people on the spiritual path. We all like that. It was a few days before the reading, or before you were doing this, that I forgot about. But it's like a Wednesday, I think, and you did it on a Friday. I went to the grocery store, and you're making all kinds of decisions when you're at the grocery store, and I go to check out, and there were two women there, and I just felt so loving towards them. I'm trying to really, when I find any strangers I meet, I'm just trying to send out love, thoughts, kind words, whatever. Everyone needs that. And I just felt connected to them. And all of a sudden the cashier goes, okay, that's $111.11. I've never
Right
had
in
that
the
happen before, ever.
Mhm.
And then the next few days, 1111 everywhere.
Mhm.
And then
And I see
since
a
the reading, I haven't been noticing it so much again, but I kept saying, why is the universe hugging me so much? I don't know.
Yes, embracing you, receiving you. It is truly like an embrace. There's this energy that I've been talking about that is available, that we all can attune to, and is available. So, and that moment is the universe's way of validating for you that you're holding that space of love. You are an anchor, a funnel, a channel of love, bringing in an energy through these portals, and you're the portal. So that's a lot of the 1111 energy. Yes. And so as we
Mm.
open up to it, we acknowledge it, we recognize it, and we're aware of it, we begin to like open up to it happening even more and more. So here's an experience that you all got to participate with me in, is that they orchestrated on the other side as well. We think that we're in control, and they have a whole other idea in mind in store for us. And beyond my control, I'm like in this panic space, and beyond my control, and without resistance. So that's the thing, is that, pardon me. I know we're going to shift into this, and there is some readings, and somebody passed that had issues with the throat, really affecting the throat. And Mavis, I do just want to validate that it was absolutely your mama. I was like, you're my baby girl. And I pictured this little blonde girl in a dress with her little folded socks and the little ruffles around it and these pigtails and blonde, blonde, blonde. My
Oh.
baby girl's not here. So I don't know. I figure there's like an image, a picture. I don't know if she loved to dress you in little dresses when you were very little, and you're like, now. Yeah, resistance to it. But that's somebody here. I just feel that energy. So how does that resonate with you?
With me, I was such a tomboy. I hated dresses.
There it is. Mhm. If she would have had her way, she would have had you in dresses all the time. Dresses and pigtails and bows and frills and foo-foos, but loved you, just your being. I think she tried that very early on and realized early on, no, this ain't gonna
Not
work.
gonna work.
This ain't gonna work. Okay, thank you so much for your willingness to share your story with the rest of us, and thank all of you for being here. That even in that moment, I felt this sense of like, ooh, this isn't quite settling. So, ooh, I'm getting it wrong. I've learned to trust implicitly that whatever comes through, it comes through. My only job is to try to pass on the message and not put myself too much into it. Okay. not try to interpret it for myself, just try to give it because it really is meant for you all. And I have to say, just Rachel, those beams and rays just coming through and streaming are just absolutely beautiful. So soak it in.
It's a
Guys,
beautiful day. I'm with my
ah,
sister. Hi, Clarissa.
ah,
It's so funny. We're sitting in the car park at the tennis club waiting for my son having his tennis game. And but it's beautiful. And we're happy to be here. It was the only way we could join in. So I hope we don't get interrupted, and I hope the game goes for much longer than normal.
Yeah. Well, we're so I am so thankful for you being here. You know, this is the thing, is that we're spanning time. You know, that time does not exist. Okay, so here it's tomorrow morning for you. You know,
and
it's
again,
our.
We got in the car and I said, oh my gosh, we're in the zone. I looked at the time and the temperature and it was 10 degrees and it was 10:11, and they're my numbers, 10:11. So I knew we're meant to be here. Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, and that's the transition. So the 10 number, we break down these numbers and individually. 1 is the leader, this start, new beginnings. The 0 is the alpha, the omega, no endings, no beginnings, the God number. And then the 11, it's like being that portal, that you're that channel, that tube of ushering and anchoring that energy. And then it shows that transition from the 10, okay, and then all the way into the 11. So in our spectrum, we're like, okay, from the scale of 0 to 10, what's your scale? And you're like, oh, I know, I'm an 11. Okay. Yeah, we're ending this phase and we're going into this new, and that's what those beams and rays are all about. So absorbing it. And so if this message is for everybody, absorb the light, receive that. That's one of the most important things that we could do. Okay, so anybody else have an experience that came up that you care to share with the group? Because it matters, you know, that when we have these validations for ourselves and recognitions, it's important to validate it, speak it, acknowledge it, and share it. You guys were part of a unified group, and what you each experienced supports each other. So anybody else want to share? Okay, yes, Crystal.
For me, you mentioned a dragon, and I was like, it was for someone else, but it was also tied with me for some reason. And I didn't really know what that was. I just was like, I wonder. But I had forgotten that my brother who passed had come to me in a dream, and we were sitting, it was a visitation dream, and it was so vivid. And we were sitting on a purple dragon, this huge, majestic purple dragon. And I remember just looking at it and being like, I wonder what that means. When I woke up, all I kept thinking was, what does dragon mean? What does that mean? And then when you said it, it didn't click until later. Then I was like, oh my gosh, that was just his way of saying, like, you know, he was here.
Yes. And so when we break down these messages, they're even more, because they're trying to convey messages that in a way that we can see it, it'll be identifiable, but there's messages that are entwined in messages. They're so efficient. And one of the best ways I can describe it is like in the movie, because I'm a very visual person. So as you know, go into these realms, developing yourself, using your imagery, opening up to your imagination, try to visualize it in your mind's eye. What does that look like? What does that feel like? You'll begin to develop that ability of vision, your spirit eyes. It's beyond what you think you see. What you think you see with your physical eyes, you're missing half the world out there, because it's mostly created by a filter that's inside your brain, truth, okay? It's called the critical factor. The critical factor within the brain just is this information coming in, resonate with what I already know? No, it doesn't. Let me kick that out. So it likes the status quo. It likes things to remain the same. So as you are embarking in these paths, opening up to new, may we put our mind into service. Put your left brain, logic brain, into service of your right brain, okay? Rather than our logic brain beating up our right brain. Our right brain that's where your intuition, your connection, your development of all things of self and this other, we all straddle these two realms. We just do. And when you can attune to it, develop it, sense it, acknowledge it, feel it, it becomes something really extraordinary. these beams of light you're absorbing, that they're feeding your system, that they're actually enlivening you. They are informing the cells within your body to be in unity with nature, with being informed by the sun so that you don't feel so isolated and alone. It's not so much a woo-woo religious thing and then finding and seeking and all that stuff. It can be, but oftentimes those paths lead us to further separation than feeling connection. So may you understand that those are superimposed stories and the truth of you is interconnected to everything. It just is. And they have another story and another plan on the other side as we experienced, greater than ourselves. Okay. So thank you for that. So as we break down these messages, purple, okay? So it's interesting because even in my own brother's memorial card, his background is this sapphire blue that blends into this purple, okay? That has to do with equality and energy. So colors matter. Colors do mean things, okay? So there is an enlivened energy, these frequencies. Consider it like a spectrum. Okay, so when we're on a color spectrum, those are also frequencies within the light band. Okay, so that's what color is. So if you attune to color, there's these extra energies that are coming onto the earth, just like all of these beautiful rays that love that you're displaying this for us, purposeful. Okay, even what's behind Mavis, even what's behind Karen, and I even see the window that's right behind Gina or on the side, all of this light, okay? This is what we are meant to absorb. Information comes in this way. In these moments, we can acknowledge, take a breath. And in those moments, we can get those messages. We have those moments of, oh, I remember. That's what that message was. That's what that means. Oh, I remember this thing, right? And so that's what this is all about. We are all intuitive, every single one of us, without exception. If anybody ever says, oh no, I've got this, and you don't, run. Please run, because you are a brilliant spark of this divine essence within yourself that is one of those streams of light. You have your own unique color, your own hue. In that multicolored spectrum and colors that you can't even imagine that exist. So if you're wanting to attune and really sense and feel and have this greater connection to yourself, to your sense of your inner self, that soul part within, this energy that's streaming, that's available to us and to your loved ones, it's about shifting into that place that the greater part of you is on the other side already. There's not an abrupt ending and an abrupt beginning. There is a continuance. Okay, so whatever you feel here, and sometimes that happens when it's a traumatic thing, but there's always intervention. Okay, and then the soul can receive it. And so I don't know why I'm talking about traumatic, and well, I do know for one particular group, but I also feel like this is applicable for others. If there was someone who, well, of course, there is several. I'm feeling just primarily the loss and the sense of someone really young, life cut short. And I know that that is applicable, but in this one I'm feeling, so it's interesting that both of you are on each side. Okay, so Crystal under the light with Mavis. That's what it looks like on my screen. I don't know if that looks the same on yours, but these light beams also, we have them over here with Denise and Mark. Okay, and these light streams and beams. It feels significant, okay? There's no coincidences of how things happen. It all matters and means something. And in this moment, I'm feeling like those connections of loss of people very young cut short. But I want to talk about this a little bit more. So I feel like this, and somebody with there's something with the issue of the back. Young, hit, struck from the back. Okay, Crystal?
My brother, it could be my brother. He was shot he was shot multiple times, but the bullet that they say killed him was in his back and it went through his lungs.
Okay, so this is your brother for sure, okay? Okay, and I also feel like I'm drawn to this area, so I feel like Karen, somewhere in yours, I want to say in this sector, so this could either be for Gina or for Karen. but I also am feeling male, young, lost, cut short early. Who would that be in your experience? I feel like this is somewhere here as well.
I had a cousin that died in a car accident when he was maybe 30. It's probably 20 years ago now.
Okay. Was he very, it's interesting because I'm getting it's like he has two sides to him. One side it's feeling like he's showing himself as that taking major risks, high adrenaline, major but then there's also like this major quiet side, very subtle, like resistant. And so it's like people would not see this side. There's like two entirely different parts. Does that describe your cousin, or does this describe somebody else?
That could be. He lived in Italy, so I didn't know him all that well, but I heard that like maybe he was speeding, so like he had that side, and I could see him having more, although I didn't know him super well.
Okay. Now, are your moms connected? Are your moms related?
No, his mom and my dad.
You're okay. Okay. Your moms. His mom, your dad. Has his mom also crossed?
No.
Because I want to say the moms. Okay. So someone, oh gosh, I don't know. Let me get a sense of this. There's someone there's a young energy passed, and where there's two sisters. So it's like he had two moms.
That could be, I don't know, but it could be my brother and they were my mom and his sisters. So like my mom, my auntie's the one that lost Venus, and she was 9.
Okay.
My brother was 28.
Okay. Now
So
it
they were
kind of cut
sisters.
out.
I don't know if that's what's coming.
Okay, and it barely cut out there at the very beginning. So if you could repeat the first part.
Okay, so my brother and my cousin Venus both passed very young. One was 19 and one was 28. And my mother and my auntie, they're sisters, and they
That's the
both
one.
lost their kids.
Okay.
Okay.
Glitter and concert. Is this the glitter? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, this is definitely the connection because it's young people lost. Okay. And then I'm also drawn, Marlene, I am drawn in this area. Like, this is just, I'm feeling in this area, but if this is not for you, let me know. But it feels someone who was run over, who was young, really young boy, run over, accidental run over.
Nephew, Odell's brother.
Yeah.
I hear someone, so if this is felt, someone was very young and was run over. Accidental, did not mean it. It was like a family thing. It was something happened. So who is this?
He was 12.
Young. He would be young. So like I'm picturing like still in grade school.
Wow, maybe not.
I have a cousin that was run over when he was little. And I
Okay.
was just talking to my husband about him the other day,
Okay.
telling
Okay,
him
okay.
that, yeah.
Okay. I am, how old was he? I'm seeing really young. So I'm seeing
Yeah.
2. Say that again.
He was, I think like maybe 3rd grade.
Mhm. That would make sense because it's really young. And then I see another young boy, like around
Twins. Who did?
12,
Lucy.
13.
Lucy's grandson. 12, 13. It could be
Maria
Odell's son.
Lupita,
Yes,
has this boy passed over?
yes.
Right.
Hmm.
Okay. I
Now,
do know.
go
Okay.
ahead, please, because
I
now, yeah.
okay. Somebody I know, she's sort of like a friend. She
Mhm.
recently lost her son in a drowning a few months ago. Her grandson. And then just about a month ago, or a couple of months ago, her other two grandsons, they're twins. One of them was hit by a car. And he ran out in front of the car, but he survived.
Mhm.
And I reached out to her and I said, "Would you consider a reading? Because I don't know her very well." And she didn't really respond. That's the
This
only
is
experience that I have.
okay. So this is fascinating. Remember that at the very beginning that the other side tries to orchestrate this. So you did your part by being able to convey it, because I am seeing someone very young. I am seeing someone who's hit by a car, and then I
Yeah.
am seeing the loss. So if he survived, what I hear is, oh my word.
The
Wow.
twins.
Wow,
And
wow,
they're
wow, wow,
young.
wow. Oh my heavens.
But their cousin, who
Uh-huh.
was 19, he was taken in a drowning at a beach in
Yes.
January.
So here's the thing. The one who is hit by the car has had an experience, and I'm literally
Oh,
being told by the
wow.
boy on the other side that he actually saw the whole thing. They had this interaction, this connection. And so it's really, and there is still somebody, I am getting still the bullet, Chris, that I feel like it's a link, and there is something with the back. There's an impact, there's something from the back really impactful, because that sensation hasn't quite gone away, which means that it's also meant for somebody else. Definitely the lungs. Okay, so who else passes impact by the lungs? Does this boy that survived still, did he have lung issues? I'm seeing like where they had to puncture liquid.
I don't know.
I don't know if
He had very severe injuries,
okay.
but I don't
I'm
know. And
okay.
he has I think he's maybe autistic, maybe something like that.
Okay. I'm seeing where there's it's a medical procedure where there's a tube that's in the lungs that helps it drain while the body's healing. And so I'm just, so I don't know if he still has difficulty there. And this is the oddest thing, and I don't know why I want to talk about this, but something about why is she doing the thing with the spoons? So if you mention something to her and you talk to her, I don't know what this is, but I want to just mention like about the spoons, okay? So whatever that may be, there's a want, because she's feeling like a deep loss, like this doesn't exist, like, and it of course deep despair, but it's a really, really big thing. It's like he's trying to send her proof, and then all of a sudden I'm getting like a deep sensation right at my it's under my diaphragm, so I'm going to say that's probably stomach. So there's like acid reflux, there's the esophagus, and like just a burning sensation like right in that area. So I don't know if I've already moved on or if this is for the mom of this boy, but there's something about that. And I do want, it's like a grief creates poison in the body because of the hormones, and that it is actually secreted like a hormone. And there's something that is happening within her digestive system. When we think about digestion, it has to do with processing, assimilating, absorbing nutrients, that which matters most, and then eliminating. So there's a process of not accepting what's happened, so I can't process, digest it, and I can't eliminate it, so I'm holding it. Okay, so there's a thing happening. So I also feel like just whomever that may apply to, yeah, grief is grief is a human experience. Grief is extraordinarily real, but this is only because of our limited understanding of what we are. When we understand what we are, of how we actually incarnate in these planes of existence, that we're not meant to have fear or this sense of separation. We're not meant to have this sense of loss or disconnection. You are already home safe on the other side, having this experience here, an awareness. You're going to continue. Our loved ones continue. It's just if their consciousness chooses to remain. So if somebody has a question about a ghost. Who has a question about a ghost? Like literally, somebody has a question about a ghost. Okay, if you don't want, and I don't want to put you on the spot. So if that resonates with you and you want to think about that, you can share that with me later. Go right ahead. But there's some questions there, so I'll just answer that. There are incarnate means that we are alive in the body, tethered to a body, having an experience animate. Then there are discarnates. So souls who choose to vacate the body when the body is no longer viable, but have not chosen to fully cross. That does exist, okay? Then there is other energies and other types of beings out there, okay? So ghosts are also, so oftentimes those are more imprints on our spaces. So imagine that if time does not exist, but the space remains the same. So if you were to see those like a real fast photo time lapse, like that takes photos, and then you see like a transition of, say, like a house when it's being built and it's beautiful and then lived in, and then over the course of the years it gets overrun and then it gets totally taken down, like in speed of 10 seconds. That's what our life is like here. It's this big, fast process that just continues. And when we understand this and have this continuation, fear does not exist on the other side. So oftentimes ghosts are really intended because those are energy imprints. Those are imprints that are like bound to the space. And so oftentimes those are like residual energies. Okay. There is other energies and entities and other things such as that, but if it all depends on you, it depends on what you attune to. Okay, that this is, and I also want to be very clear here that we have energy and we continue, and oh wow, there's this stream of energy just as I lean back. So I don't know if you guys can see, it actually looks like a rainbow as I'm talking about these energies. Actually, that's actually new. Okay, so I will receive it and I'll just be there. Oftentimes, and that's, oh, okay, it's to explain the rainbow bridge. Oftentimes in many cultures, they do understand what they call the rainbow bridge. So even in like a Viking lore and like the having to do with Thor and the like all of those realms, they actually talk about the rainbow bridge. In native cultures, they talk about the significance of rainbow, that literally beams in these streams of energy that literally create us here. That we think that we're created from the inside out, but there's actually these energy streams that you're part of, okay? And it's to talk about like, how does this energy cross? And it's through the light spectrum. It's a vibration that is around us, and our loved ones do exist. I also feel like there's question about like how our, wow, how our loved ones, that actually looks like a whole rainbow, right? Going beaming right into my heart. Aw. I actually want to cry for a moment, just like be like, wow, okay. So they have a whole plan to be like, okay, yes, you're part of these beams of light. You're not separate from them. They're part of you, fuse with them. See, and just as you shift, Mavis, I saw this
Yeah.
energy right around you as well. Yeah, okay. So let me just tune in. Feels like I'm answering a lot of questions, but I also want to convey messages. Does anybody else have anything that they want to ask that came up? I very rarely will remember how things were said. But if there's something that came up or something afterwards, I'm just going to take a moment and allow whoever wants to share or ask. Anybody? Okay, interesting. Okay, so let me just get a sense. I feel like, okay, thank you guys for being back. Marlene, I do want to say like, why, like, I don't feel like it's a coincidence you guys dropped right in that moment. Are you guys experiencing things that are affecting you? Like when I talk about asking questions about a ghost? Like I said, if I'm putting you on your spot, just if it makes sense, just raise your hand or say something. Just say, yes, it makes sense. won't put you on the spot, I promise.
Maria, maybe I should say
Go
earlier,
ahead.
earlier today, I was reflecting on a moment when Mark and I were camping, and I'm tending the fire, and I turn around to face him, and I saw this milky, shadowy thing next to him, and it scared the you-know-what out of me. And I froze, and I know I saw something, but I don't know what it was. I have just, it's always been a mystery, but maybe that was it.
And that would make sense because I'm feeling it like in, I do feel like it's, maybe Marlene, it may not be for you, but somebody around you or that's with you. But I do definitely get a sense like there's a definite question about like what these energies are and wanting to distinguish what they are. So that definitely makes sense because I do feel like there is someone that is affected and being affected by energies that are like kind of poltergeist, like that could be if they're misunderstood. So I want to just make like, so if that applies to anybody else, let me know and we can talk about that or clarify it. Okay, so I'm going to let that go. And I think the most important thing again is that these energies exist in these ways, whether you believe it or not. Its existence does not require your belief. The disbelief in it is what creates the fear. It's the misunderstanding of it that creates the fear. It is those false messages that we were told that creates the fear. You are an amazing, energetic being that is infused with all of life, that is extraordinarily powerful. And that when we raise ourselves and open up ourselves, that when we maybe use discernment, even in the things that I say, okay, you have this inner ability within yourself to check in and say, is what I'm hearing, sensing, feeling, experiencing, how does that feel with me? How does that feel to me? With that, not another person, not anybody else, and everybody is in their own level. Okay, we come into these awarenesses and we're always evolving. I know for a fact that what I know today is going to evolve, you know, tomorrow, the next day, 5 years from now, whatever. We're constantly evolving. What I know today is not what I know, not even a week ago, you know, a year ago, not even whatever. So we're evolving and there were these extraordinary souls. There is, I feel like I am speaking this because now, maybe just by show of hands, if there has been this question of you all of how do I tune? How do I connect? How do I connect with myself, my spirit, bring in this greater way of living, living better, living easier? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So maybe this is the reason why, because again, I'm trusting that whatever the information that comes through, that it's meant to be for whatever reason. I also want to say that somebody even asked, okay, like I want to know that if I have an angel, that you will like show me, like prove it to me, tell me, like I want the proof of it. Okay. So like I'm seeing all of these incredible things that are happening with all these, like even right, oh, look at what's happening right around you. Look at your camera. Do you see that blue? All like that's beaming right from that light. And oh, it's actually your blouse. Okay, so it's interesting that it looks like that light from your window was looking like it was coming right into your area, right there with all this blue and this purple. Okay, and so really it's about discernment. You know, how do I tune in, tap in? And as we open up, okay, so yeah, the proof of it. The interesting thing is that I don't know why, but it feels like when you were asking this question, that there's something small in your hand. So I don't know if you're holding something, have something, you hold something, but it's like as you're asking, you're holding this. It would feel like, I don't know, I could just get a sense of what it feels like. Does that make sense to you? Oh, you're holding it now, Rachel. Okay, I was gonna say it feels like a rock to me. Okay,
Crystal.
like holding. Okay, a stone.
Yeah.
A crystal. Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You're 17 hours ahead of me. 17
Yeah.
hours ahead, I believe. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know how I see it. I just do. And then like part of it is like as we invite these things to happen, it's like so part of us is I want to know the how. I do this and I'm like I am very skeptical and very discerning. Okay, so let me this is this is really quite fascinating. So just bear with me. I noticed that at the time of year, this is never actually happened. So must be just the time of year how the sun is shining through my front door. It's a very small window that's just shining through. Okay. I also do want to ask. I want to still continue with you, Gina. About like asking for the proof of like making sure these things. I have an invitation, and as you explore these things, because it really is like this deep personal experience, like these things are coming up and it feels like these proofs, like I want to say around you, and that are now starting to come through for you. I like that's just what I want to say is like for you directly. And it's also a part of when it's good for us to feel discerning, and then at the same time you're cooperative with the universe, right? So the best way that we can actually open up is the wanting of it. Have a curiosity. I wonder how this works. These people have magical experiences. I wonder how I myself can experience that for myself. I wonder how this works. I wonder how I have this connection. And then at the same time we want it, and at the same time part of our experience is like withholds it from us. And even if it feels like I don't know who this is for, but it feels like with whoever in the group, but if it's feeling like, well, they're the ones that have the experiences but I don't. Okay, so instead it's about like opening it up for yourself, is that I have these experiences, I do. And then part of that has to go back to what imprints did we carry. What layers and screens did we impose? Like I said, it is that prefrontal cortex. It's our left brain over analytical, beats up the right brain. Both of those function so beautifully and maybe put the left brain in service of the right brain. And so we can open up. Our job now is, instead of looking for the doubt, the things, right? We open up to say, ooh, show me. My brain's job is now to seek and find those miraculous things, those things that happen. Give it a new job. So thank the part of it, because that was originally created oftentimes out of fear, of for many different reasons. And then so we can give our brain the new job. So as we open up to this, it is a natural state of our being. You're the one that is wielding this energy. It is through your intention that this will either come and open, and through your awareness. And this is like, for, as I say you, I'm talking about humanity, all of us, each one individually, okay? It's something that we evolve into. So when we're talking about the 1111, that signifies this massive opening, awakening, portal, funnel of energy. And that means that you are well on your path, okay? And it's like an initiation of energy in a sense, okay? Okay. Thank you so much for allowing me to go into that whole deep thing. I pray that it serves. Does anybody have question about that? Any clarity about that, or want to ask something more about it? And don't feel like, oh, I want to, but I don't want to dominate. I don't know if I should or not. Go for it. Your question serves. Anybody?
I just think sometimes that like, you started by saying like we're all intuitive and stuff, but there probably are, I would assume, people that are more intuitive in one way or another. So I guess I have had lots of like proof already, but then sometimes I feel like I want more. I want more. Like some people are very much like, yes, I know my angel's name or whatever. And then I'm like, I'm not there. And so I guess I compare myself, and Yeah, but I know
Mhm.
it's growing. I know that it is. And sometimes
Yeah.
I'm feeling like, you know, very negative or whatever. I can feel very disconnected and think I don't think anyone's listening, you know, too much
Mhm.
help or whatever. But then, you know, it turns around and I do get, you know,
Yeah.
little signs. I just want more. Like I want more for some reason.
Absolutely. I still want more. So, like, I open up and I literally say, so where we live our life magically. And so when we give our brain, the left brain, the job to find, they'll start to appear like in miraculous ways. So then, so a really great invitation that I have for each of you, it's like a book that I adore this book, and it's the book that I would have loved to have written. Her name is Pam Grout, and she wrote the book called E Squared. It's a very short book. She's a witty writer. It's a
I think I
fun
read it.
read. Okay, I invite you to even maybe explore it, maybe reread it. There's what she calls 9 experiments that begin to engage you and say, like, you know, put it out to the universe and see how it comes back. So one of the other ways is, again, acknowledgement. Acknowledge when our loved ones come through. I don't know if they did. I think I imagined it. Acknowledge it. Ooh, my imagination allowed me to see the unseen. Okay, that is what the word means. Doesn't mean false, doesn't mean made up. It means tapping into the unseen. Okay, so what we think we see may not actually be, because we're only seeing 6% of the energy spectrum. There's 94% more out there. We have a way to see into our whole realities that is much greater and bigger. Okay, so then we just start with a place of wonder. I wonder what's going to happen today. I wonder how my soul is going to create something amazing. I put my left brain into service of my right brain to find these fun things, make it fun. Okay. Begin to say, like, ooh, what kind of thing do I want to find? Okay. So heart shapes. I was finding heart shaped rocks for an entire summer of walking. I have literally barrels and barrels and Ziploc bags filled with heart shaped rocks. Okay. And then last year it was about this understanding of duality and separation. So while I was spending time on my mountain in the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, I kept seeing in nature these rocks that were once one broken in 2 parts. And so I found that I'm calling them an infinite pair. So I have baggies and baggies and baggies and baggies and baggies filled with infinite pairs, okay? Because nature shows us. So then as you embark on these, start to ask, what do you want to show me? And just be in a place of watching, because our left brain is like, oh, I'm supposed to come up with a name now. So why am I not getting that name now? A name will come when you least expect it without you even knowing. I was the same way. I was flippant and I was a bit arrogant when I was like, huh, find my angel's name. Okay, I'm gonna find my angel's name. Okay, everybody else gets it. Why don't I? Okay, so I sat down and I remember it was during my lunch hour. I'm at work and I'm not such a great place to do this, but I remember it so distinctly. And I closed my eyes and I'm like, okay, if you're here, I need help. What's your name? And I heard Bridget. And I'm like, Bridget? I don't even know anybody named Bridget. Bridget, really? Like Gidget? You know, I was flippant and arrogant, and I don't, and I was like, of course, a name that I never would have thought of on my own. Then I heard, and I had my what I call my ass handed to me. Okay, it's when they kick me back in line and say, "Hold on, little girl, let's get you straight here." Okay, that's just my term. It's a funny term that makes sense to me. And then I heard, no, it is Brigitte of Brigide. And I was like, what is this? So I'm looking it up and I'm like, okay, what does Brigitte mean? And it actually means exalted one. And I was like, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me, because I was in this place of like, so we overthink everything. So give our left brain a job. Okay. That's why meditation may not work. I cannot sit still, stop thinking, stop thinking. I do active meditations. I will kick into vacuum my house, dust my house, love my house, give my body a job, my left brain a thing to do, while my mind wanders and I ponder and I ask and I imagine and I wait and I listen and images come. And then it's usually for clients that I'm having sessions for later that day that I get to pass information on. And it's just place of just watching, like just being, right? We get crazy over it because we want it. So you have the hunger inside. Ooh, feed that hunger. Seek and find community. Learn, grow, read, share. You know, feel that sense of love and connection, because that's the channel. That's the where we get this. That's where all those beams of light come in and we absorb it. Okay. And then may we know it's a language personal to yourself. And if somebody says, well, that's not what it means this. Say, well, that's good for you, but it means this for me. Okay. Make sure you understand that there is a difference, that the way that you receive your information may not look like what another does. I don't see the way they do. I don't see colors. Ooh, what is your soul showing you? What is this language that is being developed for you? It is a language with our soul through our sensation. It's a language of our mood, our energy, our attitudes, our emotions, our feelings, the thoughts, micro sensations in our bodies, things that catch our attention, because God speaks to us and through us all the time. We just have to have the eyes to see it, the awareness of it, to understand that it is a natural state of our being. All these synchronistic moments open when you are aware that I am meant to receive it. I am meant to be. I am a profound being that is infused with all of this, ready and capable of receiving. Show me what this means. Listen to your language. And this is where the part of when I first was embarking after my near-death experience, and about 4 years in after realizing, okay, that this isn't being taken away and I am not going crazy, and I'm going to stop listening to everybody else. And I prayed, okay, God, if you cannot take this from me, help me and teach me. And then so I began this inner feeling. I stopped, because even people that I tried to seek, they were very ego-based, and it was really about their process or them, and it didn't help me. And I will honestly say that the only person that truly did was Sonia Choquette. She's an incredible, very intuitive, loving being. And I had an experience with her while I was in Chicago that helped me to connect with myself. Ooh, the biggest lesson. I had been seeking and seeking, going, traveling, looking, wondering, finding, only to discover that I brought the thing with me, which is me. Okay, so go inside. Maybe go inside. Your loved ones are inside. The voice, those messages, those feelings. And when you think of, like, you find a dime or a feather, or you see a bird, or you hear a song, those are your loved ones. And you know it because of what it feels. Don't doubt. And because your feeling is your soul telling you because of how it feels. So those things that are most sacred, your soul is communicating to you. It communicates to you by how you feel. Feelings are the very first indicator. And sometimes we don't know what we feel, but we're having a mood or an attitude, okay? Or there's a little bit deeper. So it's a process, and it's okay. Okay. Wow, this session was not anything that I expected it to be, because this ended up being a lot of sharing, and which I think is just so beautiful. So I'm going to continue with just sensing and feeling. So I also want to take a pause and just ask for a moment. Is there any question or anything that has come up that is said that you want clarity or would like to share or ask?
Should I share it?
Well, Lupita, earlier I thought I heard you saying my name. Maybe I didn't, but I had to go run and get my daughter. So we were in the car. So I don't know if I missed something. So I thought I would just say that now.
Okay, thank you. Because I was asking about a ghost. like if who's asking about a ghost experience, having situations, all those things. And I really did feel like it was around you, around somebody near you, somebody around you, something like that. And then the other thing that came up was about someone being, a young boy being run over, but I don't know if you heard any of those parts.
Yeah, I did it. And I know my daughter has been experiencing different things that she's unclear. A couple of 2 different dreams with her father who did pass in 2020.
Okay.
And so
Mm.
she's been very unclear on what it meant or if it is her dad or something like that. And I really didn't know how to tell her. Now here in our house, we have his urn, and I too often at night feel somebody getting into my bed, and I already have both dogs and a cat on my bed, but I still feel like somebody has laid in my bed. Like I feel, when somebody sits on a bed or so that's, and my daughter's, been questioning her dream about her dad and her sitting out on the porch, and that he
Okay.
just suddenly gets up and tells her that he's got to go and that she'll be okay.
Okay. Now do I have permission to share? Because we can go into a little bit deeper, but I just feel like there was something that was really affecting him. I don't know if he was like in recovery or was recovered already, but there's a huge issue about that, and that he's really having to overcome, and he feels like he really left things undone.
He did. It was he fought for a while. He had congestive heart failure, and he tried to make his own regimen, and he ended up screwing himself up, and he was sent home and they told him that he would pass in 3 days, and it happened in 5. So it happened way quicker than we expected, and kind of unexpectedly as well.
Okay. So reach out to me, Marlene, because this is interesting, that I was really, really interested in, like, again, curious and asking, why am I talking about incarnates and discarnates? Okay, so we can talk about that, because I feel like, so it's not a scary thing. So let's talk about that. Oftentimes when there's trauma and souls are not ready to cross because they feel like they have unfinished business in this lifetime, things that they wanted to do, complete, finish. Oftentimes that does come up with people who have committed suicide. Oftentimes it's because they don't want to face, but most of the time is because they have unfinished things that they want to complete. He does fit that criteria. I feel like you guys were not divorced, separated. There's this pulling apart, but he feels like he's just so angry with you because he didn't get better.
And that's crazy that you say that, because it's true. We were married for 19 years. We had our daughter. He was very abusive, and 3 months before he passed, I finally left him. I finally had left him. And even though me and my daughter had moved away from him, it's in the same town, he was still in our lives. He was sick, and he would call, and I'm sick, I don't want to be alone. So I'd go pick him up and bring him to my new place. And so we were separated, we weren't divorced, and he was still very active in our lives at the time.
Yeah. Okay. There's acknowledgement for that. So okay. So when I talk about an incarnate and discarnate, does that make sense to you? Like a soul who is out of body, who has not fully crossed. So we have to understand, again, time does not exist on the other side. So even though I want to say like 3 years. Oh yeah, you already said he passed in 2020. Okay, because I am getting about 3 years. He was sick for a long time. I want to say about 7. And
Yeah,
did he
that's
have
exactly right.
jaundice and his liver and?
Yep.
Okay. Oh yeah, he's angry because it's one of these moments there, the realization again that in the continuance of the soul, the body's released, okay, because the body's no longer viable, but the soul is still like, wait, my people are here. I wanted to connect with them. So it's not like a hunting, okay? It's just that oftentimes it is quite literally like in the movie Sixth Sense, where he doesn't realize because they only see what they want to see. It's like this feeling, and there's like this loop that they don't fully understand that really truly does exist. It truly does. When I saw that movie, I was like, wow, somebody obviously they consulted, there's some truth to that, okay? But I also want to say that these souls, just exactly like what dreams may come, there's in the movie What Dreams May Come, there's a scene where he is like ushered. There's a presence that is around him even though he's still here. Okay, so if you haven't seen that movie, I invite you to watch it because there's so much truth in that. Obviously, it's a big production, but there's a lot of layers of truth within it. Many parts of it are exaggerated to make point, but there's so much truth to it. So just know that exists. So I invite you to watch that as well. So
Okay, yeah, he held on. He was holding on. They told us that he would pass within 24 hours. Then they told us 3 days, and he didn't pass for 5 days. And he was holding on. He did not want to go, and I felt bad for him. So I called a priest. I'm Catholic, so I called for a priest. And once the priest was done doing what he did, that was it. Paul was gone.
And it's because the realization of, wait, I'm not ready to leave. Wait, I didn't want to accomplish what I wanted to. Wait. Like I let the human stuff get in the way of my soul stuff. And those are those moments. And so what really can help our loved ones in these moments is when I say prayer, I have to be very, very careful, because what we think is good for others, we have no say in what is good for another soul. None. So when we pray for others alive or crossed, the only way that we can pray is, may this energy, may God help them in whatever way is best and appropriate for them, and wherever they are at, that can assist them in their process, right and appropriate for them. Not our forcing and not what we think is good for them. Okay. So that's a really, really powerful way. So in this, it's like helping them, because again, time does not exist. And what you're describing is like literally him, like you're feeling like someone getting in bed. And I don't want to scare you. It's not a fearful thing. It's those imprints that I'm talking about energetically. Okay. So in his mind, in those loops, those time loops, he's still thinking that he's present, and so his consciousness is literally affecting the material realm, even though he's not in the physical body. That does actually happen. So it's not a fearful thing. It feels like that hasn't happened in a while, though.
It's probably been maybe a week. It had been. It would happen like once.
That's pretty recent.
Yeah, it usually happens about once a week, actually. And I always, every time I feel it, I always make sure that I have all the animals on the bed, because I always think, oh, that has to be the cat. It was the cat, or it was the dog. And no, every time I got actually all 3 of them on the bed.
Okay, so in this moment, you can, I don't know how this feels for you, but you can even say, like, in that moment of like, so just understanding that time and space, so it's time, space, and space, time. It's this literal interweaving loop, okay? We don't fully understand it. So in his consciousness, still tethered to this place, he feels most comfortable with you. He felt that way in life. He still has like in that. So when you're sensing and feeling it, there's this time loop, okay? So if you want in that moment, just like in the movie What Dreams May Come, like there literally are ushers, okay? These beings that until the soul fully decides, it's even like City of Angels is another one to describe that's similar to that. Ah, how cute. Out of babes. Oh, they're so, yeah, they're here to teach us. Okay. So coming back to this, sorry. The best way to do this would be to ask, in the movie What Dreams May Come, the lady's like, I can't handle you being here anymore. So she literally like, and so the soul literally, you know, there's a whole process. I don't want to give it all away if you guys haven't seen it. Darn it, sorry. So there's a thing in it. And if you haven't seen it, I invite you to watch it. But if you have seen it, you know I'm speaking of, okay? So it's not a scary thing, something to be worried about. And the thing about the porch is because like he's trying to communicate to your Hita through her dreams. Okay, so she's very intuitive, very aware. Is she like 16, 17 now?
Yep.
Okay, she's going into her sweet 16?
She's 16. She'll be 17 in August.
Okay. Okay, I do want to talk about her sweet 16, okay? Because it's like, and I do want to say the sweet 16, I don't know if it's the quinceañera, but it's like, but I do want to say it's more sweet 16. And like saying like, oh, my dad wasn't here, but he's showing me that he totally was. Why do I see black and turquoise and like a big corsage? What is that? Who's that? Like a prom, big dress, poof, or a big corsage.
And she
it's
goes
turquoise.
to Capitol, which is turquoise and black.
Okay, okay. Oh yeah, yeah, of course. Is she graduating this year or next year?
Next year.
Okay.
I hope. I hope she's graduating.
Okay. Because I almost want to say she's like, this is her last year. I almost wanted to say she graduates this year. There's something about creating like a bridge, like to get this shit over with is what I want to say. Okay. And it's like, stop wasting time, go through the GED program, get that degree, move on, get the scholarship and go. She's smart. She's just bored and it's a social thing. This girl's going to go in oh yeah, if she chooses that direction, boom, everything flows. And it's like, I feel like this is the year. I don't feel her going back, but I feel something major, like big and like good, really good.
Wow.
She wants to go to a different school. There's a whole thing. There's, I wanted the Santa Fe Community College. There's a hybrid program, dual credit. She can earn her college, her high school diploma with an associate's degree simultaneously. I know who to send you to. Wow. And her art, material, textile, and design. Who is that? Who's designing material sketching? Okay,
No.
okay, a young girl sketching, putting, okay, this is for someone young that's actually putting designs, sketching, colors, like literal fashion design, little sketches.
Maybe.
Okay, who does that sound like?
Maybe Dina.
Okay, it's not sounding familiar to anyone? Okay. No,
Maybe,
yes, please.
maybe Maria.
Uh-huh.
When I had my reading with you about a year ago, I had a young girl living with me from Thailand. Her name is Dina, and she is a brilliant illustrator, and she wants to do fashion. But she recently moved out of my home, and now she's settled in not far from me. That's the only thing I can think of. And she came up in the reading I had with you. That's why I'm bringing it up now.
Wow.
Because you asked about her then.
Okay.
And I said, yes, that's Dina. She does fashion illustration. She wants to get into fashion, but she's struggling still. She can't get a job. She hasn't gone on to study fashion yet. She's still struggling because she lost her father to COVID, and she's living in Australia, and she's from Thailand. And yeah.
Okay, this is definitely her. And I am feeling there, and there's an extension of our children come to us in whichever way their souls are meant to. So regardless of the space, the time, the distance, being born of another family, she is part of your soul's group, and she has been invited into your experience. Absolutely. So I absolutely get the energy of daughter energy there. And there's
Mhm.
this deep desire for her success and for her beingness. It's really about just the soul and the human that she is meant to be. I feel that so beautifully within you. There's acknowledgement for you in that, absolutely. I feel like he was a hard ass in life. That like if he was
Really?
not her father, like if I don't know if there was like there's somebody who was really difficult, not accepting, was very like go in this other direction. If there's like a particular idea.
I don't
So
know.
if this is okay,
Her,
are
her
you
brother is very academic,
uh-huh.
and she's a daughter, and in Thai culture, it's very so much focus is on the son. So maybe
Mhm.
she feels that separation, her family, maybe she was a little bit disappointing, and she's a bit of a rebel, and she's not the academic good girl.
Uh-huh.
She's been difficult. She's
Okay,
gorgeous,
yes.
but a bit challenging.
Because she's everything within her soul is resisting the what is the idea of what it's supposed to be, the enforcement of, you know, that there's a structure that in order to succeed it looks a particular way, and so of course a rebel, everything in her soul is rebelling. So
Yeah.
all the way down to what's showing so beautifully, Crystal, if I may just say, is like we're being shown here so beautifully, you know, that from a child this age, when they say that they have the terrible twos, it's because it's adults trying to enforce pressure in our, you behave the way I want. And so the child rebels from that instant because the soul inside of them is, I want to play, I want to dance, I want to do all of these wonderful things. Don't suppress me, you know? So it's that same kind of energy. So I am getting that there's that, oh yeah, that her soul is like it was like a beacon. You had this, I see this beautiful desire within you to make a difference and impact in humanity in general, and this is being done in a very direct, focused, localized way through her. Okay, so it's like this bigger picture, but how do we help humanity? One soul at a time, one action at a time, one connection at a time, literally. And it sends ripples through all of life and time. So by you having this invitation of that, yes, no matter how difficult and challenging, I open up myself to this, that this soul agreement, that there will be a settling within her when she stops resisting what she is. That there's this fire burning inside of her that is meant to be ablaze. And rather than thinking she would be diminished and would be so whittled down to be that prized academic, okay? Her soul would be so diminished because she is meant to be something colorful and grand, okay? And that's the difference. When she owns that, holds that, and lets that, whew, so it's like giving herself permission in the release of what all of those other superimposed, you know, expectations. And she like, and I do see a flower. Why do I feel like her name or some kind of nickname represents like a flower? What I don't know what her name may be.
I did teach her, I'm a milliner, and I did teach her how to make silk flowers. That's one thing for her graduation. But I don't know what her name means.
That's okay. So
That's
there's
the
something about her
flowers, very
name.
much flowers with her.
So then this is like a message that's like kind of unified. So there's something about the name that has like this energy of like beauty, lightness, flowers, something about that. And I want to say it's like a birth name. It's like an endearing name.
Her
Like
birth name is Satanan.
Satanan. I'd be curious as to what that may mean. Satanan in Thailand.
I don't know what it means though.
Okay.
Sitanan.
Sitanan. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, I'd have to look and see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. So I feel like the main message for that is really just about, yeah, holding her essence, you know, and
Mhm.
that's the most important thing.
I'll pass it.
Absolutely. Say that again.
I'll pass it on to her.
Okay,
I will
wonderful.
pass
Thank
it
you.
on. Thank you,
Yeah,
Maria.
because she's really talented, like
Yeah.
really talented.
Mm.
She's such a rebel. Like I'm seeing like these big combat boots and like these like
Mm.
gloves, and she would wear like a black like tutu, and then like something that's really punkish, but then they'll show like I see a splash of like pink in there somehow.
Yeah, yeah. Very colorful and yeah. Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. Okay, now I feel like that describes actually somebody else who has like this goth kind of, and okay, Crystal, go ahead.
She was all about the punk rock. She had pink hair, green hair, tutus, fish tails. That's just like exactly what I thought of when you said that.
Okay, because I'm definitely seeing more this, because when I feel Satanan, I'm feeling color mixed with elegance, mixed with clean lines and like these new, like it's very fashionable. And
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
but suddenly I saw black, you know, the black
Yep.
cowboy, the combat boots with the black tutu and like a it literally looks like a kid's t-shirt with like a little rainbow on it, you know, undersized is what I'm
Mhm.
seeing. And like
Yep.
just, yeah, and then the different colors.
Yep.
Wow. That is really cool. And I do want to say like the punk style.
Mhm.
Now, the interesting thing I'm drawn to you, Pat, and I feel like this is like 1980s Valley Girl. Who might that be in your experience? I don't know if I'm drawn, I don't know why I'm drawn to you if it comes up, but somebody's like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, you know, that the Valley Girl talk, you know, like California Valley Girl.
Just wait.
Yeah. Oh, I
Okay,
don't
I
know.
can hear you.
You can? Good
I
thing.
can.
How
Yes,
good.
yes.
I can't think of anything right now.
Okay.
I'm going to give it
So
some thought.
So I might have the wrong person. So somehow I was drawn to that for around you. I don't know why. Okay, so does that apply to somebody else? Like this go-go kind of thing, and then the Valley Girl. Does that make sense? Okay. Then I'm just gonna, if it doesn't make sense now, just hold on to it, open up our minds, and then we'll see what comes.
Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead.
It could be Venus referring to my cousin Haley. She's like Valley Girl. They're complete opposites, but they were absolutely inseparable besties, cousins, like so close.
Okay.
Total opposite.
Definitely her. Total her. Because I want to talk about like, and then the chewing of the gum, and it's like this whole thing, and it's this. Okay, so it's her way of bringing her up, and yeah, acknowledging her. So if being inseparable, that would totally make sense. So still showing herself on the other side, and like I'm still here. She's kind of bridged her energy, is what it feels like. The I want to call her the Valley Girl. So it's like she's kind of settled into herself a little bit more, where it feels like your cousin would be, oh yeah, she would be like flashy to the end. Oh, how funny. Okay. Now, I do like, I feel this tug. I feel this tug for Mark and Denise. So I feel like, why am I seeing a night sky? A night sky, stars, night sky and stars outdoors. Go ahead.
Our community is known as a dark sky community.
Ooh, okay. Okay. Now I want to say that there's I want to laugh again because suddenly I'm remembering, did you plant the sunflowers?
Yes.
Okay. They haven't started to sprout yet?
Oh, they're on their way out. They've already sprouted. Well, they're still in the process of sprouting. So
Okay.
yes.
Okay. So I see them just blooming and beginning to grow. And I do want to say that I am being shown a particular, it looks like a memory to me. It feels like a memory, but I'm being shown this image of being outside, sunflowers. There's this big, beautiful night sky, and I'm seeing nothing but stars. Somebody has a watering hose and they're watering, okay? And then they're literally talking to their loved one, and they're having a whole conversation as they're watering, okay? So who is that? Crystal? And okay, and Denise, so go right ahead, because remember, spirit is efficient and they bring us together for reasons. Remember that Mavis, that other person, yeah, I'm taking a Viking cruise on a river, but I saw a cruise on the ocean, okay? It's a me too kind of thing, even if it's just slightly different. Spirit brings us together for reasons. So let each of you share, okay? Okay, Denise.
Okay. In our garden, there was the sunflowers growing, and her best friend from college says sunflowers are my sign from Hannah. And so that correlates, as well as the pomegranate tree we planted just today. As I'm watering it, I was telling Mark, I bet there's going to be 12 pomegranates, and it's a brand new tree. It wasn't supposed to flower or fruit at all this year. And I've counted at least 10, and 12 is my number for Hannah. So I said, I bet we're going to get 12 pieces of fruit on this tree. And I keep telling Hannah, you got to help this thing grow. This is the desert. You've got, and it's going gangbusters. It's such a happy tree. So I
It's a
talked
happy
to them when I
tree.
water it. Yeah.
Okay, that is what I am seeing. Now, I am recalling in this moment, and it may be in the recording, I don't know, but it was something very specific of what did you tie to the tree? And I saw a feather, what I thought was a feather that was hanging on a tree that, and you said, I just planted a tree. Was it the same pomegranate tree that you had just planted? Okay. I don't know why, but I am still being drawn to that. There's this beautiful energy about the tree. So one, first of all, she loves it, but I am seeing like a feather. Okay. It's very eclectic. Okay. So it looks like a wind chime, and there's a feather hanging from it, and there's another thing, and there's like a clay pot and a glass thing and a this kind of cord and the metal thing. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
a metal plant stand. And there's wind chimes, there's a crystal, there's I found this little tiny pot, and I just stuck it upside down on top of the thing to hold it for the moment. So yeah, she sees that. It's very eclectic, and it's her area, her sanctuary, and it's in process. So
Loves it. Because what I am seeing is watering the garden, talking to Hannah, and then that she's showing me the whole eclectic thing, the sunflowers. And if you're like, "Aw, how's my girl today?" Okay, and that you're literally like calling the tree my girl, but that's what it feels like, but it represents it feels like Hannah. Yeah. Okay. Wow. So she's totally there in the garden while you're watering away. So here's the amazing thing is that when I asked you about this before, that did not exist yet. Okay. So she was already showing me like, what feather did you tie to the tree is what I saw. And so that was imagery in my mind to get me to see something hanging, something eclectic, something whatever. So it was the start of something, but was not able to continue because it had not happened yet. So like this thing, I'm like, wait, I want to talk about this feather that came up then. So yeah, wow.
and
Interesting. Go ahead, please.
one other miracle that happened this week. Last month, I entered a drawing for a big, heavy-duty outdoor griddle. So I filled out my ticket and I held it up. I said, "Okay, angels, this is the one." And then I put it in the box and totally forgot about it. And then I'm in my bathroom thinking, oh, Mark and I just invited company over. We have this tiny little Weber grill that can fit 3 hamburger patties on it. I said, how are we going to entertain guests? We've got this baby thing. And so as I'm thinking that in the bathroom, my phone rings. You won the raffle. So I told Mark it was Hannah. It was my early Mother's Day gift from her.
Yes, yes. No, this is the interesting as you were talking. I was like, I don't know where this is going to go, but I smell hamburgers. I smell like char-broiled hamburgers. I was smelling and I was like, I wonder if I literally was thinking like, I wonder if the neighbor's cooking on the grill or something. Okay, absolutely. Now, what I so total validation for you that brings it full circle is that I was like, wow, I didn't even realize that this is the interesting thing that the two ladies that were with us before are not with us today because she reached out and said, well, you made it on Mother's Day weekend. I don't know if we can make it. And I didn't even not realize that it was Mother's Day weekend. And I was like, okay, so I know that there is a mom that is needing to hear this and have this as this gift for Mother's Day. Yeah. And I didn't know who was going to arrive. I never know who's going to show. And I don't look. I don't look in advance. Whoever shows, and that's what it is. And so, yeah, that very clear message was like, "Ooh, I wonder which mom is going to show that orchestrated this that would be on this day, straight for Mother's Day." Yeah, wonderful. Okay, thank you for sharing. So is there anything else you would like to share before we hear from Crystal about the same?
Maybe one more thing. Most
Sure.
everything you've talked about and addressed today has been happening in my life over the past month. And
Okay.
so I've just been hearing confirmation after confirmation after confirmation. So yes, it is a collective message that addresses so many of us. And thank you for that. So
Thank you, because sometimes I'm like, this is not what this session is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about connecting, but in the moment, I trust what is said. So thank you, because in that moment, I know that this is meant for someone, and where there is one, there's probably another that we're here and brought in for this for a reason. So thank you so much for sharing that, because then it just verifies for me that, yeah, put my small side of self and just observe and let whatever happens because it's meant. Greater and bigger than me. I couldn't make this stuff up even if I wanted to. There's no way that these connections are just far too intricate and grand to even. Can you imagine? Imagine what it takes for the world of souls to orchestrate, to bring all of us from all corners of the earth at the same time, same space, similar messages, because we are all part of a similar group. We are here for a reason and purpose. There's purpose that you were brought here tonight. No coincidences whatsoever. And we're far more greater than we expect and know. So thank you for that. And I feel very humbled, but it truly is the greatest gift for me is to be able to be and sense and feel your God sparks. I mean, that is the truest, most sacred act. So I thank you for allowing me that and for being part of something so extraordinary. So thank you. Okay, Crystal, what were you going to say about that experience that was a Me Too?
So the sunflowers is my auntie. She got a tattoo for her daughter Venus, and it's sunflowers. So I was like, well, maybe that's it. But mostly it's the garden. It doesn't exist yet technically, but on the 3rd of May, they dedicated a refuge for butterflies in her name, and we plant every single flower garden. It's a garden, but it's just growing, and then specifically a tree that my auntie and her family put in the ground, and that was like a couple of weeks ago. So I was just like, wow. And then letting her speak first, it was even more validating. All these things she was saying, and then you were saying, it was just like, yes, it was just it's such a message also for me. And so has this whole meeting been, especially with the fear things and knowing myself and things like that. It's just been wonderful.
I've got chills. I really do. Then when I have chills like that, I know that there's something that is powerful in the moment. So the other thing that would help us to bring like us full closure is that yes, we are all something, regardless of whatever tradition, if you have one, and if you don't, it does not fucking matter. It is what you carry inside. It is your intention. It is how you choose to be in this world. Your soul communicates with you. You are intuitive beyond measure. And it's something that is so extraordinary that does not fear is but a micro drop in the chasms of the wholeness of reality. May we release that seed that does not belong to us, because what you are is power, incredible soul energy that is meant to be creative and expressive and connected. That's yours. No one can give it to you and no one can take it from you because it's already there. Already there. Already there. You just got to know it, connect it, feel it. And even if you don't feel it, the very sake of your being alive is proof that you have it, because you would not be alive if that God spark does not exist in you. That God spark is what vacates the body when we cross, okay? This boundary, this barrier of these realms. That's it, okay? We are a continuance, and the greater part of you is already home, already safe, already there. And so we're just experiencing these things and helping each other to remember what we are. Have a better experience. Yeah, okay? So thank you all so much. I hold you all so deeply in my heart.
Thank you,
for
Maria.
being here. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing.
Yeah.
May you have a beautiful rest of your day. And I hope your son won the tennis match.
Thanks, Maria. Did
Thank you,
win?
Lupita.
He won.
Thank you.
Thank
Yay!
you. Thank you so much.
Woohoo!
Bye,
All
everyone.
righty.
Bye.
Thank
Happy
you.
Mother's Day.
Night.
Happy Mother's
Okay.
Day.
Happy Mother's Day,
Bye.
everyone. Thank
Happy
you.
Mother's
Thank
Day.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Mother's
Wonderful.
Day.
Thank you. Have a happy Mother's Day. May all you have a beautiful rest of your evening. And I'll see you soon, hopefully.
See you soon. Bye.
All righty. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.